Am I the asshole for selling my late grandparents' ranch even though they asked me not to? Long story short, my grandparents used to live on this ranch for almost 60 years and both passed on the property. My mother was raised there and so were my siblings and I, so there's quite a lot of sentimental value to the house. There's also a lot of monetary value to the property. The problem is the upkeep. Especially as a single 28-year-old with a moderate pay job. Which is what I told my grandfather years ago when he told me wanted the house to be my inheritance to raise my own family like he did his. It became a running thing with him telling me I needed to get comfortable with the house for when it's mine, me saying I'd just sell it and him arguing with me about that. He sadly passed early last year quite suddenly and true to his word, left the house to me amongst other assets. I decided I'd try make the old man happy and accepted the responsibility. For the past year I've been trying to make everything work with fluctuating success, but ultimately, the house is somewhat of a sinkhole. On top of that, I've been headhunted for a job across the country with potential to move overseas within the next year. After long internal deliberations I decided to just sell the house. When I told my sister, she lost her shit. She says I'm disrespecting the old man's wishes by selling it to a stranger and should rather let her and her husband have it. I told her she could have it immediately, as long as she could pay the market value for the house. She thinks it's unfair to ask for money for a house I got for free and offered to stay in it and in return she'll upkeep it herself. I was planning on using the money from the sale for a place when I move though, so that also wouldn't work out. There's a lot of tension now and she's even trying to rally family members against me. I get the old man wouldn't be happy with this if he were alive, but frankly, and lovingly, he isn't and I shouldn't burden myself, right? Am I the asshole? Info market value is a really shitty barometer for a family property like this. Could you make a start for the tax-assessed value of the property? You won't make a killing, but it would be a damn sight more than if you inherited nothing while keeping the property in the family. And if your sister can't come up with the tax-assessed value as a mortgage, she wouldn't be able to pull the upkeep anyhow. If you sell, the family will likely never get it back. If anyone in the family had any desire to keep it, I'd work out a way to make that happen. It's in your name and you are probably free and clear to sell it without anyone's opinion making a difference. The only downside is people will think you're the asshole. You're the asshole for trying to profit off of your grandfather's blatant sexism. Per your comments you got way more than her because she's a woman, so saying sure you can have it for face value means you're taking his sexism and perpetuating it. You could try to come up with a fair split but you don't want to. You would be the asshole if you don't do whatever you can to keep the property in the family. Market value to family who did not get an equal inheritance as you on a property you got for free on the condition that is be your family home is a shitty ask. You could rent it to your sister, work out a rent to own, compromise on the cost, but using it as your get-rich scheme is icky. Based on your replies, you're the asshole. Yes, honoring the wishes of the dead really should only reach so far. But multiple comments have made very reasonable alternative suggestions, and you seem not to have put any real thought into them at all. A house that has been in the family for generations, an unfair inheritance, and you don't even care enough to consider any options short of selling right now at market value. If you had really thought on this and seen no other way, I might go the other way, but the careless way you deal with a house and land that goes back so far in your family is really disappointing. Have some respect and at least try. Not the asshole. I'm not the biggest fan of venerating the wishes of the dead when it's counter to your own well-being. I think it's nice that you tried, but your grandpa was under no illusions about your feelings on keeping the ranch in the family. Definitely check for hidden treasure, cursed gold or buried bodies before you sell. Edited to say that with the added context from I think selling it to sister for fair market value is shitty. Sure, she should pay something, at least to recoup your cost from maintaining it, assuming that also didn't come from your disproportionate inheritance, but you're drifting into asshole territory for me. I told her she could have it immediately, as long as she could pay the market value for the house. You're the asshole. You get a free house that grandpa wanted to stay in the family and decide your sister should pay market value. I don't see how you could be anything other than they are. Not saying she should get it for free, but market value for a free house. If you do this, expect it to forever impact on how the rest of the family sees you for the rest of your life. Based on the extra information, that you for the property out of sexism and your inheritance was larger than your sister's, you're the asshole. I think you should work out a deal with your sister the best way you can, otherwise you are contributing to your sister getting screwed over again. Why not have your sister rent from you? That way, the house is still yours if ever in 5 years she decides she wants to move, and at that time, you can sell or move back depending where you're at in life. You'd get a bit of monthly income to help with the move overseas, and your sister could live in the house and keep it in the family. It seems quite unfair that you got the house only because you are a guy, but hey, that's not on you, as it seems you've been quite honest from the start with what you'd do. You're the arsehole. I cannot believe all these comments. You got this house specifically because you lied to your grandparents. Your sister got a much smaller inheritance and now you wanna sell the house and keep all the money. This sub isn't about what's legally right. Legally you can sell the house. Morally you're TA. As long as she could pay the market value for the house. Give her a family discount FFS. Not the asshole, but I have a question. How did it become yours to sell? As in, did your sister get nothing? Did she get something else of similar value? Did your siblings get an inheritance of similar value as you? If yes, sell the house market value and not the asshole. If no, why did you get it all? Why are you charging market value? Personally, I would sell it my sister for less. Your grandpa didn't leave it to you to make a profit. You're the asshole spitting on a multi-generational legacy for worthless money. Info: did you talk to anyone in your family before deciding to sell? You're right that legally it is yours to do with as you please. But you also mentioned the sentimental value to your mom and your siblings. People would react better if you explained the problems you are facing maintaining a large property, rather than being told, hey, I am selling this. X200B. She is right that you are disrespecting your grandparents' wishes, but sometimes the wishes of dead relatives end up being massive burdens. You're the asshole. Offer it to your family first. If they can't take it on, then you tried. I will never forgive my family who sold my grandma's home without offering it to me when she had explicitly wished for it to stay in the family. Info: did your siblings get a similar inheritance, value-wise? If so, can you trade? Tell them they are welcome to the house if you can afford to pursue your life. Editing to say, while I understand the whole generational thing, times are tough, and people are not set up the way boomers and their parents were. If selling this property allows you to be better set for a life you want, just sell the damn property. Nah. I don't know why your grandpa gave it to you instead of having all the grandchildren have equal shares. It's understandable that your sister can't afford the house herself, but doesn't want to lose a sentimental home. It's also understandable that it is too much of a commitment for you to maintain on your own, and you don't want to gift your family such a substantial gift that would have a negative financial impact on you. Just be honest and say you want all the money from the sale of the property and you won't discount for your sister. It will save all these Redditors offering alternatives. You're the asshole, so is your grandfather. Your sister is willing to take over and keep it in the family. You got a free house, just sign the deed over for the amount you've put in. I think completely selling everything is a nothing to do. Post is super weird though, not sure why you keep calling your late grandfather the old man. I guess if anything, it's a lesson he'll learn in his grave. His views were misogynistic, and because of that, he left the ranch to the wrong grandkid who couldn't care less about it. At the end of this was your grandfather's fault. If you weren't willing, he should have given it to someone who was. You're the asshole. Market value is egregious. You can work something out with her and unload your burdens, but choose to be greedy.